What's up? So, first thing I want to discuss, somebody sent me a PM about how I removed their comment or something on my newest video. I didn't. For future reference, I will only remove comments under the two following circumstances. A, if you ask me, but now people can remove their own comments, so I guess that's not really a problem anymore. Or B, if I block you and I just don't want to see the comment again, I will remove it. Again, I only block under circumstances of, for instance, you're a fat asshole or something. When you know, if you want to criticize me, I welcome that. And if you want to insult me, go for it. But you damn well better have something of substance to say, because I'm not going to, and I don't have to tolerate bullshit on my channel. So that's what I block people for. And just doing that, I have a fairly lengthy block list, because that seems to be one of the favored arguments of the Christians. I find this most often on my videos that are directly about Christians. The two videos that I blocked the most people on were Christians are hypocrites and cowards, about those Christian hypocrite cowards who were shooting abortion clinic doctors, and the video, the UAW fails at life, which I later put out a better version of that video. But if you dare to criticize the union, you're, I don't know, I've been called on that video, apparently I collect welfare. Another person claims that I'm, I've had several people claim that I must be a trust fund child, because that's the only way I'd insult unions. You know, shit like that, you're going to get blocked for. So, for your information. And I just want to point out something, and I want to call it right now. I hope I'm not right, but I'm going to make this call right now. Because the other day someone was at some veterans, some sort of veterans benefit thing or something that Obama was at, and there was a group of protesters outside, and they, one of them had a what CNN called an assault rifle, but network news doesn't have a very good track record for understanding what an assault rifle is and what it isn't. But it was quite clearly some sort of AR-15 thing, whether it was fully automatic or semi-automatic, they didn't say. If it really was an assault rifle, it would be fully automatic, but for some reason I doubt that they knew that. They'll call anything that looks like an AR-15 an assault rifle, even if it's not fully automatic. That's neither here nor there. This guy was carrying and had slung around his back a fucking AR-15 thing, you know. And he was on private property, and in that state you can openly carry a rifle on your private property. You know. But the thing is, man, listen, okay, I'm a gun owner, alright? I'm all for your right to carry, okay? And if you have, if you're in a state where you can carry a weapon openly on your property, I'm all for that, all right? But what's the reason of showing up to a protest like that with a rifle slung on your back? I don't, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm looking at this all wrong. But the way I see it is that the only reason you do that openly is for intimidation purposes. Okay? Otherwise, if I was going to carry my weapon, I'd have it hidden. You know? But, I mean, I can't think of any other good reasons why you'd show up to an event like that with all this heated, all this anger and shit, with a rifle openly visible like that is to intimidate. And that's not appropriate, man. Somebody needs to think that through. This is part of the reason why we have so many problems with gun laws in this country, because when people do shit like this, it makes gun owners look bad, okay? Because you got to be some sort of asshole to show up at a protest in this particular political situation, particular, this air of anger that's floating through this country with a rifle. And the guy who was carrying the pistol carrying a poster that said that the tree of liberty needs to be watered, which is from a quote that I'm paraphrasing because it's a fairly lengthy quote, but essentially the tree of liberty needs to be watered from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants, or tyrants and martyrs. I don't know, something like that. What kind of message are you sending? And they know exactly what sort of message you're sending, man. And it's not appropriate right now. Somebody's going to get hurt at one of these things. I really feel quite confident that that's going to happen. I'm not liking the attitude in this country right now. I was never concerned about terrorists. And even when everyone was hating on Bush, which, I think it's fair for some conservatives to say, yeah, well, you used to call Bush a Nazi or whatever. I didn't. But some people did. Stupid people did that. But, even when that was going on, I didn't see a lot of liberals carrying weapons for the purpose of intimidation to rallies against the war. So right now I'm quite concerned, because I think that we have a lot more to be worried about from domestic terrorism than we do from any sort of Islamic terrorism. This shit needs to be, people need to calm down. This shit needs to end. And I have to stop myself at times like this because at times like this, the totalitarian in me wants to come out, and I have to stop him. Because I really want to arrest some of these people and put them away forever just for being that stupid. I want to make it illegal to be an idiot. And I know I can't do that. And I know it's wrong for me to even consider it. But times like this is when you start to. People like Glenn Beck are going on, and when you say shit, okay, when you go on TV and you say, Obama wants to kill your grandmother, to people who are already freaked out because there's a black guy in office, and I'm tired of having this argument, and I'm tired of all these self-righteous pricks coming on like, no, it's not because he's black, it's just we really oppose the policies. It's like, Clinton proposed almost the exact same thing when he was president, and you didn't have a bunch of people showing up at rallies with guns and people talking about how they want their America back and talking about how Clinton's going to kill your grandmother and shit. It didn't go down. All right. No, I'm not saying that everyone who's against healthcare reform is a racist. That would be ridiculous. But a lot of these people who are freaking out about their country being taken away, I think there's an ulterior motive besides their fear of healthcare reform, which just seems ludicrous. You can't say to people like that, Obama wants to kill your grandmother, and they know it's not true. Glenn Beck knows that shit's not true. And then just step away, and if something bad happens, just act like, no, I didn't say nothing. And that would be inappropriate in any situation. All right? Back, when a lot of people were pissed off at George Bush, if major news corporations were coming on saying, George Bush wants to kill every Arabic person, George Bush wants to kill every Muslim, that would have been fucking inappropriate. Because it just wasn't true. And you're stirring up a lot of anger around people. or if they come on and said, they'd be saying right now, you know, liberals are un-American or whatever, and they want, the right to decide who gets to live and die or something like that. If you were to have gone on and said that, Muslims want to kill, all the Muslims in the United States want to kill you, that would have been inappropriate, and it's inappropriate now. And I think that these people bear a certain amount of responsibility for the words that they say, especially because they're on a national television program reaching tens of millions of people, tens and millions of potentially stupid people. And if they're the kind of people who watch Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck actually hoping to get news, these are indeed stupid people. I don't know why this is acceptable. I don't know why it's okay. Is it illegal? No. And this sort of is the same situation with shouting fire in a crowded theater. Is it illegal to shout fire in a crowded theater? Not necessarily. But are there consequences you should be aware of? If you falsely shout fire in a crowded theater and cause a panic, should you be, to a certain extent, held responsible for the damages? I believe so, yes. So, I do believe that if something happens, that people like Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh bear a certain amount of the responsibility. I'm curious as to how many copies of the Turner Diaries have been sold over the last 6 months. I wouldn't be surprised if Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh started talking about how everyone should go out. They make the Glenn Beck Book of the Month Club and say everyone should go out and buy the Turner Diaries. I really wouldn't be that surprised. It's just not acceptable. And it's not acceptable from either side. It would not be acceptable if a liberal did it. And this is the problem. Because I'll be like, this is not acceptable. They'll be like, well, it's just not acceptable because... No, it's not acceptable if anyone does. It's just like what I said, even after I discussed what I was talking about when I said about arresting these people at these town halls. They said, somebody brought up the point that the union people, there was a fight between the union people and the protesters. You don't think that you think the protesters should get arrested and the union people shouldn't? No. Anyone who is violent or promotes violence is responsible and guilty of whatever it is. Okay? It doesn't matter what side you're on, and right now the people who are acting ridiculous are the far right. Your Rush Limbaughs and your Glenn Becks, and nobody says shit about it. Like, no serious shit. Like, Rush Limbaugh actually goes on the air and says Obama is like the Nazis because the Nazis wanted health care. Okay. And then he says, I'm not saying he's a Nazi. I'm just saying that the things that he does are very Nazi-like. I'm not saying he's a Nazi. It's just that everything he does is what the Nazis would do. It's like, dude. And he doesn't even care how ridiculous that sounds, man. That's just ridiculous. But that's the kind of shit that appeals to stupid people. Once you think something like that through, you'd be like, what, anyone who's for healthcare is a Nazi? What? I mean, that would make all the British people Nazis and all the French people Nazis. It's absolutely ridiculous and unfounded, but the kind of people who respond to that are stupid, and they don't care. They'll just take whatever, and it's fuel to feed the fire. This current anger is useful to the far right now politically, because it's somehow made this seem like it's a more even debate. When in reality, what you have is a group of people who are just yelling louder than everyone else, which doesn't make it an equal debate. Not to say that there isn't a fair amount of people who are against healthcare reform to a certain extent, myself being one of them. But the ratio it's not the way that they're presenting it. So this is useful to right now. These people being angry and really, really loud is useful to them because it makes it seem like they have more support. But at what point is it going to turn into something worse? I mean, I haven't seen people this angry in a long time. I can't think of a time when people were this angry. And you know, people were pretty angry after 9/11, but we were angry as a group towards an outside force. That was different. Right now, people are very angry at each other. And I don't think that they're totally clear as to why. Some of them are, but, you know, a lot of them don't even know what the fuck they're so mad about. So I'm just saying right now, I fear that one of these nut jobs is going to kill somebody. I'm really concerned that somebody's going to try to kill the president, which is bad for, besides the fact that I don't want to see anybody shot. I don't want to be here if something happens to that man. You know. And the third thing is that I believe that these far right-wing people who are making up bullshit bear some amount of the responsibility for the insanity that is going on right now, and for any potential future violence. And also, I feel that there's no legitimate reason for you to be carrying a loaded weapon clearly visible to what is supposed to be a peaceful protest, and you're not doing it for any other reason than to intimidate people. Okay, it's outrageous. It's outrageous, and you should know better. If there is anyone who is a responsible gun owner, you should fucking know better than that. Okay, these people aren't being responsible gun owners and, you know, using their rights or whatever. They're trying to intimidate people. That's what's going on. And if you pretend otherwise, you're either lying or you're fucking stupid. So, that's what I got to say this morning. I'll talk to you folks later.